Welcome to the Rebel Road Show.
How many tulips is too many tulips?
We're talking with people making money off the beaten path. Let's kick it over to Madeline, who's got some drinks for us.
Tequila, gin.
Oh, and I'm getting paid for this too? Dope.
Every shoot's almost Fyre Fest, right? We're a picture of a sandwich away from just being canceled. Every shoot.
I don't even know where I am. I feel like I was kidnapped.
You are kidnapped. Mm-hmm. You're in New Jersey. You have to go to Club Karma after this, where the situation will meet you, and we'll show you t-shirt time.
And was it Gym Tan Laundry?
Gym Tan Laundry, GTL?
GTL.
Yeah. We're in for trouble today, boys. All right, Dana Blair. Dana, what's up? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
For those that don't know, Dana Blair is an on-camera personality who has been on the red carpet at the Grammys. She's done Essence Live. She's worked for ABC, CNN, a slew of others. She is a giant ball of energy that cannot be contained, yet here she is on the Rebel Road Show.
I like that inflection.
Yeah.
That was good.
There's a little wave.
Yeah.
You're from Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. We know water and waves.
You used to be a dancer.
Mm-hmm.
You used to be a marketer. Mm-hmm. You've done a lot of shit. You like Cosmos, apparently.
Yes.
I like them too. It's very Sex and the City vibes.
Yes.
And this is just a girls' evening out. So cheers, Samantha. Or Carrie. You got main character energy. It's probably
Which one
more
do you
Carrie.
think you are?
I don't know. Some days I'm Samantha. Some days I'm probably Charlotte. I don't know. Miranda. I'm probably in my head.
You have a little Miranda.
Got a little
You run
Miranda.
all of this. You're a Miranda to a degree.
Yeah.
I think so. I think I'm a little bit of all of them, which is why the show is so successful. I think I'm a Carrie. I think I'm also a little uptight and a little analytical like Miranda. I can be a little flighty like a Charlotte.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Samantha, I'm trying to be a little out there, but it's not really going well.
That's the most Dana answer. I say, which Sex and the City girl are you? She's like, all of them.
I'm all of them.
That's true, though. One person cannot encompass.
As I show up with a red lip.
When I met you, you were a marketer.
Yes.
Not just any marketer, a marketer that when I showed up on set, you were dancing at 7:30 in the morning right before a shoot for Chevy. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, this girl's different.
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, all of a sudden you were like on stage talking in front of thousands of people under the Brooklyn Bridge. And I was like, okay, this is taking a turn. So how did that go where you were a marketer and then made this leap to on-air talent? I'm a star. Put the cameras on me.
I don't know. I don't feel like a star. Honestly, nobody believes me when I say this. I really do feel invisible. Like, I feel like I can move through space and spaces and no one notice me. I don't know if it's because I'm the
That's
youngest.
in your head, girl.
I feel like the sneaky little sister all the time, trying to get my brother's Transformers. Like, I just keep that mindset. I don't know. I really do think I'm invisible. I do.
But you draw so much attention.
But I don't know why. I'm like, hey guys, coffee? Yeah, okay. This is what we're doing? All right, let's do it. That's just
All right. So for someone that feels invisible, how did you decide to make that leap to go on TV?
So I started off as a classically trained dancer. So ballet and modern dance. So that's how I moved from Louisiana to New York. I wanted to be a dancer. I want to be a star, or whatever. I just loved ballet. I loved modern dance. I loved Broadway, theater, all of that. So did that for a while. Have an injury. I snap, crackle, pop in the morning like the worst.
Was it knee? What happened?
It's my right hip.
Your right hip. Yeah.
My right hip, yeah. And then my dad said, well, baby girl, your spending habits are not conducive to the occupation you chose. He literally said that.
Real talk.
Yeah,
okay. That's what dads are for.
He said, so what are you going to do now? And I've always been smart. So I said, I guess I'll just go back to school and I'll get an MBA. That's honestly.
So you were dancing in New York?
I was in New York, yes.
You're in New York dancing, and Dad's like,
and
you spend money like you're a Kardashian.
Basically. And you know what? It was one summer when I was 20 years old. I woke up and all of my joints were swollen. They looked like the Nutty Professor. I couldn't get out of bed. It hurt.
Whoa.
And I called my roommate, and they took me to a doctor, and they're like, you have early onset arthritis. I'm like, I'm 20. You know,
that dance life, that's rough.
Yeah. So I was working at A&E as a sales assistant and going to school at night. And I started to learn about money and advertising and product placements and sponsorships. And then I started to get addicted to that. And my AE, shout out to my boo, Larry Walsh, who I love and adore. He taught me the business. He taught me negotiation. He never made me go get coffee. He was like, finish your work and come with me to this meeting. We're going to go to OMD. We're going to go to PhD. We're going to go to Horizon. Pay attention. He taught me so much. Even now, I know if I call Larry, like, Larry, I need help negotiating something, he'll help me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was the mentor.
Yeah. And in terms of like the understanding advertising business. And so I love my Uncle Larry. And that's honestly how I ended up in media. I didn't have like a goal. I didn't have a goal or anything like that. I was just like, okay, that works. Okay.
Well, you had to adapt.
I like
right?
this. Yeah.
I can't dance.
Even though I still dance on set.
She never. Yeah. You can't stop it.
Yeah. And so that's honestly how that happened. And so I worked my way up into integrated marketing and working on like product placements and all that fun jazz. And then I just felt behind the curve. I was like, everybody who knew what they wanted to do out of college, they have like an 8-year leap on me, and I don't know what I want.
That is a trap that people
Yeah.
get caught in, is worrying about their peers and age
Absolutely.
and shit like that. It does. You're on your own. You're on your own journey. Do not focus on what the person to the left of you, is doing.
You can't. Because who knows where the hell they're going to end up.
And say they have 8-year lead. By year 12, now you have 4 years. How much extra curricular experience do you have? Right. Your dance.
But you don't realize that though when you're in your 20s and you're still trying to figure out yourself as a person, and you're figuring out like, hold up, they said if I go to college that I'll have my whole life figured out by the time I'm 21.
Right.
Or
well, that's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. But you don't realize that in the moment. You're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
You're literally just like, or at least I am.
I had people that when I
Like
was
that.
trying to get into film were telling me like, no, you gotta like get your money first, like get this insurance job, sell some policies. I was like, what? Why would I want to do that?
I would never see you selling policies. I would never buy a policy from you, but I couldn't see.
I get you a really good rate on that.
Yeah.
On that disability. I don't know.
Yeah, I do have a good disability policy though.
Sometimes I like keep tabs on those people, and I think it's like Tom Brady when he got drafted in the 6th round.
Right.
He tells this amazing story where when he didn't get drafted, he started to he teared up in the interview.
Finally when the Patriots called, I was so excited. I was like, I don't have to be an insurance salesman,
I wanted to call that kid and be like, Tom Brady, the night of the draft, was worried that he was going to have your life. And you're pushing it on me because I'm trying to chase a dream.
But you know what I realized too? You can't speak to people who gave up on their dreams.
Yeah.
Those are not the people you should speak to.
That's a good point.
My dad's a judge. I'm not going to go to him and ask medical advice. He doesn't fucking know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So why would you go to or listen to people who gave up on themselves a long time ago?
Right.
You know what I mean? And there are people who have maybe had to pivot or put their dreams on hold because of other life circumstances, and they didn't give up. That's a different conversation. But somebody who just totally gave up, no, you can't do that. My cousin, I watched him. He was my first example of a dreamer. We both grew up in Alexandria, Louisiana. He wanted to play baseball, and his path to the major leagues wasn't traditional. But he got there and he won a World Series. You know what I mean? But he never gave up on himself or his dream.
This is Juan Pierre.
Yes.
Look at this subtle Juan Pierre, fucking my cousin.
But it was my
He
first.
won a World Series.
But he's my first. He's mentioned in a Jay-Z Beyonce song.
I used to run bass like Juan Pierre.
Yeah.
I was working at A&E when that happened.
Like Juan Pierre.
Yes. But that was my first real life example of someone who didn't give up. I have another cousin who was in the NFL, Mark Duper, didn't give up.
Your cousin Mark Duper?
Yeah, super duper.
Super duper. I
Super
loved
duper,
watching
yeah.
this.
I fell asleep at one of the NFL games. I was little. They were like, Dana, you're on the 50-yard line. They were playing the Houston
How
Oilers.
fast are you? Because those are two fast motherfuckers right there.
I'm not fast. They got those genes. I didn't.
But you can pirouette like a
Like a motherfucker. I actually was a good jumper, which is probably why my hip hurts now. I was a good jumper.
Madonna, Madonna, Madonna. But you keep it all inside.
Your origin story really starts when you started at Essence and you were doing a marketing campaign with Chevy, which I was a part of. They had a massive event underneath the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah.
In Dumbo, cobblestones, beautiful place. They had a stage. They were doing a fashion show. and somebody didn't show up that was supposed to host.
Yeah.
And I got to witness live of them tapping the woman I had found 2 months ago dancing inside Melody Asani's jewelry store. And they're like, you're going to host. And you rocked it on stage in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
And did an amazing job. Tell me how that happened.
So, okay. Couple of things. So you
So you hadn't even thought about being talented at that point.
Hell no. It was not on my vision board at all.
What was on the vision board?
Not that. Not that. So when people ask me, to talk about all these different careers I've had, I realized they all came together. So even in high school, I nerded out. I was a cross-examination debater. Like I used to do that in extemporaneous speaking. I even went to the national level in extemporaneous speaking, which is where like you pull 3 topics and then you have 30 minutes to prepare a 7-minute speech that you have to deliver and cite sources.
Wow.
When you're dancing, you could rehearse 8 bajillion hours, but no 2 shows are ever going to be the same, So that impromptu and thinking on my feet was something that a muscle I had been building that I didn't really realize. When you're a marketer, you're pitching, you're in the boardrooms, you're trying to slightly pivot and flip the story this way so this person gets it and then this person gets it and you want them to buy it and then they don't like it and then you're trying to pivot because you still got to get the deal.
Right.
So you're realizing all of these skills are coming together. And I had done like 1 or 2 red carpets for Essence. Dorothy, she saw this in me, but I did it as like, okay, well, it's a part of my sponsorship. The person, we just need to get some sound bites. Okay, I'm going to go because I want to just get the deal done.
Right.
Like, I'm not really here. I'm one of those, I'm a team player. Everybody, let's just move forward, get the shit done. So I'd done like 1 or 2 mic moments, but that was really it. And, I don't know. It's just one of those, we just got to get the shit done. Let's just get it done and do it well. So I had my phone in the back pocket. The agency's calling me for this. So-and-so's calling me for that. I'm on stage. Coming next to the stage, we have da-da-da-da-da. Oh my gosh, are you ready? Blah, 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 blah.
You crushed it.
Thank you. And then I'm running off stage like, okay, please do this. The permit's here. Da-da-da-da-da. And the client was like, did I just hear you on stage? I was like, yeah, wearing many hats today. Many hats. What do you need?
Wow.
But I didn't take it seriously. Even, there's a picture on my Instagram. I can show it to you. The day I auditioned for the Essence, I didn't have any makeup on. I'm wearing a hat, and I had my computer because I had a RFP due. Like, I was like, I don't take this serious. Like, this is not me. This was not in my plan. I don't know how to do this. And I'm one of those people that I respect people who have a craft.
Right.
I'm not going to say I'm an actress because I did that one play in high school. Do you know what I'm saying? There are people who study. It's like when people say, I was a dancer too. And I'm like, you were on the dance line that 1 year. Stop. It's different. No disrespect, but it's different.
You dabbled.
Like, I breathed this. I've
studied this.
Yes, I've cut my own toenails off, like things of that nature, like blood, sweat, and tears. And the moment that light came on, I said, "This is what I'm supposed to do." Joe Lynch was like, "You did it," and I said, "Did what?" He said, "You're a natural at this," and I said, "It felt right. It felt good."
Yeah, there was no imposter syndrome. When I saw your first episode, I was like, holy shit, this girl's a star. I mean, I knew on that Dumbo stage.
But I felt like this is what I'm supposed to do. And it made sense because you watch like people's master classes and stuff, right? And they're like, I always knew I wanted to be this. And you're like, yeah, you could say that because you're a billionaire.
Right.
And it all worked out. But it made sense to me. And then I was like, okay, well, how do I make this work? And if I'm going to do it, I can't do marketing because I'm going to always just kind of like punk out and like shrink away from this because it's hard and it's not easy and it's not consistent and you don't know it. And I'm one of those people like, I want to know everything.
Right.
I want to ask I want to know. And so that's when I also said, I'm going to start going by my first and middle name, Dana Blair, because I knew like 9 bajillion Dana Johnsons.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just differentiate the two. If it didn't work out, I didn't want Dana Johnson to be a failure. I'm really hard on myself, and it's not, the energy is always high, but people don't really realize it, but there's an exact, every energy has an opposite, so I can be really high all the time, and this is me, but when I'm low, I'm low. And when I'm hard on myself, no one can beat Dana up the way Dana can beat Dana up. Nobody. You could say some shit about me, Pete, and I will come for your neck.
Yeah.
Even though it's the exact same thing I'm already thinking. Only I I can say that when I'm crying in the shower. You can't say that, you know?
Yeah.
So that was
That's that duality. Okay, so there is, right? They say that everybody's strength is also their weakness. So, like,
absolutely.
if you can get really hot, like up, you can also get really down. So
Absolutely. And so after the first show, walked out. You remember the Studio 2A layout?
Yeah.
Walked out, and everybody was in there, and I thought they were about to fire me. My first thought was they were about to be like, "You suck."
No,
like
you
I was
did-
like, why is everybody in here? And then they started clapping, and I just was like, oh, I still have a job. It's like, oh, praise his name. I still have a job. But my initial thought was, yeah, you totally botched that. And I'm not a name, and I don't have like a massive social media following. And like you tell yourself all the reasons why it can't work, but what if it does?
So you can't focus on that. You had
Yeah.
charisma, and as long as you can own that moment, that's all that matters. And you own the moment. You got charisma. Don't worry about the names and shit and all that extra. That's stuff that when people see you in that split second, they're not thinking of your resume when they're watching. You don't turn on the TV and be like, "Well, what's she done?"
Yeah.
You just, can you captivate my attention for that time? Mm-hmm. And you definitely had it. I mean,
Thanks.
Joe Lynch is not just throwing flowers.
No,
that's
he's
a
not.
experienced, seasoned guy.
Mm-hmm.
If he's telling you did it, I mean, especially at that time, he was running so many shows.
Mm-hmm. He was running a bunch of shows. And also, too, just going back to even my dance background, when you have a choreographer and they're like, no, change this hand, do this, you have to implement it, like right there.
Yeah.
So working with different directors or producers, they're like, okay, give it to me again, different inflection here. Give it to me again, this and this and this. And I could just, it was like all these muscles that I've built all of these years were just starting to kick in.
Right.
And I feel most comfortable on camera. I don't know. I do think I'm invisible, but when I'm on a stage or on camera, that's home to me. What's a lot of people's biggest anxiety, that's home to me. That's just home.
You know, I think what's interesting is that, like, most people do not step up to that moment. And you did. You can bomb that first take. Unless they're a dick in the audition. They're going to give you direction.
Yeah.
It's how you respond to that direction. I've seen many auditions where I'll be like, all right, give me your take on the performance. And they will do the performance. And it might be like, ooh, you did that way wrong. But that's okay to read the scene wrong.
Yeah.
But when you get that direction, it's how you respond. Can I give you a note? And are you moldable? Now, granted, if someone comes in and they've just nailed it, they got it and they read it right, you're at a little bit of a disadvantage competing with them. But if I asked, most directors will give a note just to see how you can respond. And so I think all those skills that you've learned from dancing all led to that moment where the lights turned on and you were like, oh, you want me to change up and be a chameleon? I got that.
And I never want to not show up and it have an effect on what could have been for me. So I had an experience in high school at an audition. So when you're a serious bunhead, if you will.
Bunhead, I don't know this lingo.
Like
Bunhead
dancer,
is
like,
just-
you know, the buns, you know, like,
Okay.
you know, a dancer, you have your point shoes hanging off your backpack, you know, you're really serious into dance. Every summer, there's summer intensives. So Alvin Ailey, Houston Ballet, Atlanta Ballet, PMB in Seattle, San Francisco Ballet, like the big ballet companies do these national auditions and you're trying to get into one of their summer intensives. Your parents can't just cut a check and you go. It's a selective process. And I remember I was auditioning for something with Joffrey and I shrunk in the back. And I left that audition like, I don't really know if I showed up. I was a jumper. I could jump with the best of them. And it was the part of the audition where you jump, basically. Like, right? The Grand Allegro. And I'm just like, I shrunk.
Yeah.
And I cried. And I was like, why? And I was like, it's because I didn't show up. That's honestly, and I cried and I was like, I will never do that to myself again.
Think about
Even
people
if I'm
that shrink
scared.
in a moment, though, and then quit.
Right.
You at least knew, like, okay, I know what happened just there. You're always going to have a bad day.
Yeah. You're always going to have a bad
or
day.
get taken aback by a moment.
But I knew that I'd rather do it and at least know I did it and did it to the best of my ability than I just totally punk out and not do it and not get it and always wonder. The always wondering fucks with me.
Yeah.
I'm more afraid of not doing it. I really, really am. So people are like, oh, you're so bold. No, I'm scared. I'm scared.
Everybody's scared, though. It's how you react to fear. Everybody has fear. And I think there's something about how, like, producer mindset is just like, if you feel like there's a mission, I just have to get it done. And it feels like that led you, just that fear of not getting it done and you doing everything possible to get it done, not only led you to heights in your marketing, but like, okay, you're a marketer. Oh shit, there's nobody to host this Chevy program. I got to get it done. And all of a sudden now you're a talent on stage and you opened up a whole new world. Just get the job done and just fear more about not getting it done than, oh, what's everyone going to think of me?
Right. And then that creeps in later.
Yeah, I'm sure that does. I mean, look, being talent is tough
It is.
because it's a very judgmental world. And a lot of times people get picked and there's no rhyme or reason. You shouldn't beat yourself up when you don't get a role or you don't get cast because you have no idea the factors that made it that you weren't the right fit for that role. You might have been actually the right fit and they just fucked up. People are flawed and they have, whether it was something that was like, not, I won't say
Like someone should have had me on that Oscar carpet this year.
for sure.
Like, I mean, bald girls were winning this Oscars.
Yes.
You know? I'm just saying.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
maybe he would have thought twice about that joke.
I'm just saying.
But anyway, like you just wanting to get the job done and not worrying about insecurities has led you far. And I think a lot of people sometimes can just be dominated by, well, what are they thinking of me?
Like people on social media can be brutal and not forgiving. You know, how many people have been announced to have an endorsement deal or a show, and then somebody goes and finds that one tweet they made that one time 10 years ago. Because I don't even, Twitter's like 10 years old now.
That's true.
And then they bring it up, and it can ruin whether or not the deal goes through. Some people are just assholes, yes. So, you know, but some people are like, damn, well, I've had experiences in the last 10 years. And I've grown and I've evolved and I've educated
It's like
myself.
the Kevin Hart thing.
Exactly. You know, so it's interesting how we decide who gets room to grow, who doesn't. You know, you talk about Street Style, and I remember I was hosting Street Style. This may have been I can't remember if it was the first year or the second year that I hosted. It may have been the second year that I hosted. And this guy gets on my page. I wore a Kaepernick jersey. And he gets on my page and he says, like, I look like an alien and I need to be killed. And one of the people from Essence.
That's a healthy human right
very
there.
healthy. Very healthy.
I'm sure his life is just perfect.
Perfect. He's in a bunker somewhere.
Yeah.
And someone from Essence had it taken down. But that was my first interaction with internet hate. And like
the troll.
And the trolls and how brutal people can be. But you have to develop that skin if you want to continue to grow. And I remember Beyonce was like, I don't read the comments. And
that's probably, it's sound advice. It's hard advice.
It's hard advice. It's very hard. Criticisms and critiques that are healthy and positive, meant to help you grow, are one thing. Like, you know what you're doing in production and directing. I don't. So if you were like, Dana, this is an X, Y, and Z technique or this and this, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. But if you're like, you fucking suck, you're stupid, you should have done this. But you know what I mean? It's different.
From who? Some armchair quarterback.
Who's never... You know, Brene Brown, and I'm paraphrasing, but I love me some Brene Brown. But Brene Brown,
I watch her too.
You watch that TED Talk?
I do.
You know
I do.
But she says, if you're not even in the game, if you're not even putting yourself out there, you can't tell me anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to adopt that.
What is that person's opinion?
Right. I had to adopt that, though. You don't know that when you're first starting out.
It's not like Oprah said some shit to you. If Oprah's like, Dana, you suck, that's like, totally different.
I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. That probably go selling a policy.
It's Ted from Des Moines.
If that's his real name.
If that's his real name, yeah.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing. You were saying?
All right, so you audition for Essence, you crush it after you rocked it on stage for your Chevy campaign at Street Style.
Uh-huh.
Now all of a sudden, Dana Blair's not a marketer. She's running a live show. What the fuck is that like?
I had great showrunners to teach me the ropes. Danya Blaze is super dope. She taught me a lot, both on camera and off camera, because I didn't know. There are tips, tricks, techniques I just didn't know.
And like what? Teach me the ways. And Essence Live had a who's who guest list. Like,
Oh, we had everybody.
you had everybody.
We had Patti LaBelle. We had Common. We had Monica. We had Brandy. We had Keke Palmer. We had Kalani. We literally have had everybody. JB Smooth, French Montana. Everybody who I never in my life thought I would ever meet, I met. Those were the people that made me nervous. Like, these are icons.
Yeah.
You know, Common's an Oscar winner.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and they made me do a rap battle.
I know.
I'm from Louisiana, not Chicago. This is how I want you all to know how we roll. Super Bowl.
Yo, I get it, Dolphin. I get it, Dolphin. Yo, Dana gon' keep coughing, trying to disturb me, but still my words be just like that train, sort of dirty.
And then they were in my ear like, "You're losing. You're losing. You're losing."
I would hope you
I'm
would
like,
lose.
I didn't. And like, I know that. I know that. You know, he's won a Grammy, he's won Oscars, whatever. But, it's overwhelming, and then you're like, "Am I even qualified to be in these rooms?" You know. And it's just...
At no point in any of those shows did it look like you were not qualified to be in that room.
I was like almost TTing on myself on several of them, like Kelly Rowland. I'm from Louisiana. You know, they're from Texas. Like, I knew about Destiny's Child before the rest of the world knew about Destiny's Child, you know, and Rev Run and Nas. The first time I interviewed Nas, he was performing for Essence Festival. There was something that was going on. We weren't going to be able to get the interview because of timing. Right? Because he had to take, we were trying to get the interview before he took the stage, which is, I think is a lot.
Essence down at the Superdome.
Yeah, we're at the Superdome in New Orleans. And they were like, "Okay, Dana, we need you to leave and go to this other location to do something else." You don't sleep. If you work for Essence, you don't sleep during that week.
Yeah.
You just don't. And I was kind of relieved because I was so intimidated. This is Nas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was so intimidated. And then they were like, "Nope, we need you to come right back." They turned that SUV around, and we got like 5 minutes. That was my first interview, and I've interviewed him several times since. First interview with him particularly, but I was just, what do I say? What do I do? I don't know what to say or do. And my friend was with me, and she's like, say this. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right. That's what they did say to say. Okay, I can do that." But I was just so nervous,
Right.
you know, and you just, it's overwhelming, and you're in the middle of a damn Superdome.
It's different when you're making it for your audience and like you get to curate it and put the filters on it, whatever you want.
Right.
It's different when you're totally not in control anymore.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's just like you got an hour, perform.
And you're not in control, and people become very critical, especially on red carpets. You know, I've made so many mistakes, and I've also had some great moments on red carpets, but you never know who's going to take the time to actually speak to you. You don't know.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that just because Pete is the star of the movie, that does not mean Pete's going to speak to my outlet.
Right.
That does not mean I get more than one question with Pete. I may not, the only 3 people that might stop and speak to me were the passenger 2. Like, I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get something out of that because I too have a job to do, you know?
Right.
So it's a lot of thinking on your feet. And I think a lot of people just pay attention to or focus on getting the Instagram moment, and that's not what gets you work, and that's not
Right.
but at the same time, that's what I'm competing against as well.
Yeah, it's this really strange time in media.
It is. It's very strange time in media. It's very strange.
So you could have 10 years experience, be able to handle all sorts of curveballs, but it's just like, well, you know, look at their engagement numbers. And I know, and I won't name outlets, but I know some outlets, I've never worked for them, but I know some outlets that their MO is to pronounce something wrong, say the little wrong piece of information. Why? Oh, because we're going to start an argument in the chats.
Right. That's what they want.
Think about how fucked up that is. That's so terrible. But again, they want those numbers. They want that engagement. They don't care if it's positive engagement, negative engagement.
No such thing as bad press.
And I don't understand why a L'Oreal, a Chevy, Procter & Gamble wouldn't care that, like, do you care that your content has a fight underneath it?
Right. Some do, some don't. Some brands do. But so it's just people that, again, like you sit in your bedroom and you're like, watching MTV growing up, or you're like, I would never interview this person.
Right.
Or I would never even need to be in the same room as this person. You know?
So how do you get over that hurdle where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm interviewing this person? Like, is there that mentality of I just got to get the job done? Like once the lights get on, do you get over that shit?
Over the past few years, like And by few, I mean like 2 to 3. Literally recently, I was like, you know what? I've gotten into meditation and stuff. And so I was like, I wouldn't be here if I couldn't handle it. I have to remind myself of that. I'm here because I can do it. Even I'm TTing in my pants sometimes,
You might
like
be nervous about what the hell you're going to ask, by the way.
I'm
Power dynamic goes both ways.
It does. And that's
And
another
that camera
thing.
crew's with you, your team camera crew.
Oprah said that once in one of her interviews. She said that in her X amount of years in doing the Oprah show and all the interviews she's ever done, no matter who she's interviewed at the end, they've said, how was that?
Right.
And I find that so fascinating. I'm like, this is like my 5th interview. You've done like 6 of these today,
Right.
But we had everybody. We had Nick Cannon. Like we everybody. Amber Rose and I had a no hair moment.
Okay.
But Gladys Knight was my first interview at the Essence main stage when I first started interviewing.
Wow.
No pressure.
No pressure.
She's super nice, super professional, super kind. She made me feel comfortable.
What are the tips to prep for a live show like that? Like, how nerve-wracking is it to know that, like, this is streaming, there's big names coming in, like, you can't fuck up.
No pressure.
No pressure, you can't.
For me, I need to feel like I know you. So I would research any and everything I can find about Pete.
You need that
online.
comfortability.
Yeah, because if you pivot left, I need to move with you. I hate watching an interview and someone's like, what's your favorite color? And you're like, I don't really believe in colors. Okay. What's your favorite song? That's not an interview.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just checking those.
You want to know where they're from. You try to find that that tie between you two. Maybe you have something in common.
Absolutely.
It's like a date.
And that helps me feel comfortable. So Joe Morton, who played Papa Pope on Scandal, he's an extremely talented, trained actor whom I respect. And I was like, how am I going to interview this person who I have all this respect for? And, and I saw that he went to Hofstra University as a theater major, and I went to Adelphi University as a dance major. It's like, we're like sharks and jets. We're gangs, right?
Okay. Use it.
So we were pre-taped, and I walk in and I say, I don't really know if I can do this interview. And he's like, what? I said, you went to Hofstra? I went to Adelphi? I don't know. And he immediately laughed, and it broke the ice, and it made me feel comfortable. And then it also made him feel like, okay, this person has done their due diligence and their research. And we had a great conversation. But it made me to be able to connect.
You're not just media person at that point. There's something extra.
Exactly. And so if I know, if you and I are talking about something, you reference your book, I should know that your book just came out and be able to speak to that. Like, so I want to feel like you're my friend, and I can have
Run
that
Rebel
conversation.
Run, available on Amazon. Yeah, so that is a great piece of advice. Like, get that commonality that you can, that little bit of extra in case you need it if something does veer left. Because in a live situation, you have no idea. Right? I don't believe in colors.
It's like, I don't know what you're going to say. I've trained. I've prepped for stuff for HLN as an entertainment contributor, and then we've gotten on the set, and they're like, "Oh, all of a sudden, you can't talk about this." And you're like, well, what the hell am I talking about now? And you're literally sitting right there,
Right.
Or meeting Misty Copeland. I'm a dancer. Misty Copeland used to be on posters on my wall growing up, and getting a chance to meet her and speak with her and say, you were on my wall. Thank you for representation. Da, 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 da. And then she's like, oh my gosh. And then we could actually connect and have that conversation. Now she's at a different point of ease to speak with me and vice versa.
Right.
It's a different level of respect and comfort. And I think you have to, my job, I never want to be the type of interviewer that's like, gotcha. That's not cute to me. I don't want to be that person, nor do I want that energy in my life. I always want to show respect, even if I have to ask a difficult question. So
What's the most difficult question you've had to ask?
I don't know. You know what? There was one question I was told to ask as an opening question with Regina Hall, who's an actress and comedian whom I think is
I love her.
amazing. I remember in production, I was like, that's a bad opening question.
What was the question?
I don't even remember the question. I just remember thinking this shit is bad.
It was starting off on a negative foot.
I've never met this person. It's starting off on a negative foot.
Yeah.
It's
You can't
not
come in
cool.
against like that.
And it's not your face on the damn camera.
Right.
Nobody's going to think X, Y, and Z producer, showrunner, so-and-so told me to ask
Yeah,
it.
it's
They're going to
Dana
look
Blair
at
did
me.
that shit.
Dana Blair's the asshole for asking that question. And I remember her response was like caught off guard. And then now I spend the rest of the interview trying to make up for that. She's a professional. She is definitely professional. She's amazing and brilliant and talented and still gave a great interview. But I remember seeing, I'm up close with you. I could see your eyes. I could see your reaction. You're still a professional.
Right.
And I remember after the show saying, I told you that was a bad question.
She was pissed.
She wasn't, I don't think she was pissed. I think she was just kind of like, really? That's where we're going?
How do you navigate that? Is there ever a pushback where you're like, go to the producer, I'm not asking that question?
I've said sometimes, I'm not asking that. And they'll say, why? And I'll say, because of this, 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 and this. Okay. And then sometimes in my ear, they'll say, ask the question. And I'll try to find my way to maneuver around it. Because again, I have, when you're an interviewer, you have many masters to serve. And people don't realize that. I have the brand that I represent. I have my showrunner. I have, their PR teams and their teams and what they're trying to get out because X, Y, and Z has a show or a movie or whatever coming out. If it's a sponsored segment with an advertiser,
right.
You're trying to serve all of your masters in a way that's organic and authentic and doesn't feel like, and next up, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
at the end of the day,
yeah.
It's not like people are going to come down on the sponsor Toyota.
They're not.
Or Essence. It's you,
me.
Not the showrunner.
I'm the jerk that asked the question.
You're the jerk that asked the question.
Right.
Here it is on video.
Right.
Trend
and
it up.
Cancel her, boost her, don't hire her, hire her.
It's a tough line to navigate.
Yeah.
For
tough
sure.
line, short term and long term. So.
Interview's like a date.
It is a date.
It's a date that the whole world's watching.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell when someone doesn't fuck with the interviewer.
That you could definitely tell. And then also the world is still so small that where you don't want the next time they have a project coming out for them to say, no, I'm not sitting with them.
Yeah, it's not good.
Because they're definitely the bigger name, where they're like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
I had something with 50 Cent where he had such beef with somebody that we had to fly a whole new person in just to interview 50 because he did not want to even see said individual.
I've interviewed 50 before.
He was cool.
Yeah, he was cool. But that happens, and people don't realize that happens. And sometimes you uncover beef, and you're like, really? And
it's not like we could just hire anyone. It's not like we're grabbing anyone off the street. We had to get like a big name to just come in and do it. That's how serious it was. But
I don't think a lot of people realize all of the things that happen just to get that 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Or
it's a big deal.
It's a big freaking deal. I want to interview Marshawn Lynch.
Oh my God.
That's my dream
I want to
interview.
just hang with Marshawn.
That's my dream
Marshawn, I got all the Skittles in the world if you come here.
I want to interview Marshawn. I love Marshawn Lynch.
You just don't want to talk, really.
I'm just about that action, boss.
Now, you've resisted the urge of just going full, hey, YouTubes and Instagram and just turning the camera on yourself and doing it.
Because I'm not that funny. And see, that's another thing. I don't like posting. So people don't realize I post the same things over and over again. They're like, you're always on camera. You should. I was like, I don't like taking pictures. I don't know.
That's the hard part about talent now. So everyone's talent.
Everyone's freaking talent.
Everyone's an influencer.
Everyone's an influencer. Everyone's talent. You're dealing a lot with like one of the big things. I've met with some major casting folks at different networks, and they'll say they're in a battle sometimes with execs because execs want the social numbers. Casting's like, I can break talent though. Some people, somebody who's, I'm gonna say something that I probably shouldn't say, but I'm gonna say it. Someone who sits in their basement and talks to a camera and records something 100 times does not always have the same skill set as someone who can think on their feet. When I show up to a red carpet, when I show up to an interview, I don't know what you're going to say. This is not scripted.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can have an inclination, but then your attorney's called and said, I can't talk about this. Your PR manager says, I can't talk about that. And your PR manager is standing right there and says, I will walk across this stage and I will pull them off if you ask about it. But that's the one thing the audience wants to know.
Right.
They could have filed for divorce that morning and you didn't know. You know what I mean? Like, so many things happen, and I have to actually pay attention to you as a person and have a real interview to have real content that could potentially go viral and do positive things. So it's different than just talking to myself, but that person may have a substantial following. So now we're competing with different skills many times for the same job.
The analogy of that is like there's these people that have big followings because they can make trick shots, right? They can go on a basketball court, they chuck it behind their head, full length shot, it's in.
And they may be really good at that.
Doesn't mean they can go on the Lakers and win the fucking championship,
Right,
okay?
right. Exactly. And I'm not saying they're not working hard to cultivate their audience. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's a different skill set. So I love what you just said. It's a different skill set. You know.
Can you show up live and do it?
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to do. That takes traditional media has its advantages in that. And like you could live stream all you want from Instagram and do from your basement. It's different when there's curveballs and who knows what's going to happen. There's a producer in your ear, things like that. That's a whole nother world. And I've seen people fold.
And honestly, I've traveled and I see people who are like, hey guys, I'm da-da-da. And I feel like they're so in this that they're not in the moment.
Right.
I don't know how to do that balance. And I've also don't want to be the type of person that's, I don't want to feel like I have to post 8,000 things every day. I'm not built for that, which is one of my struggles in doing this because I know it's also a part of the job. I would love to be like I don't care how you feel about him, but Dave Chappelle. I would love to be like a Dave Chappelle.
I've seen Dave Chappelle 3 times.
And what I mean is that when he drops a special, you're going to watch. He's not dropping something every day.
Yeah.
But you're going to pay attention. Whether you love him or not, you're going to pay attention to see what he says. I want to be that type of interviewer and storyteller where people are like, Dana's not posting all the time, every 5 minutes, but when she drops an interview, I know it's something that I'm going to want to see. I may learn something from it. I may garner something from it. I may love it or hate it, but it's going to make me think.
There's a double-edged sword to that influencer life because when you get that audience and that algorithm is working for you, that algorithm demands all of your time. I need those 8 posts a day. I need that engagement to happen and I need those shares. And so you're a slave to that algorithm. Like you have to feed the dragon. And that's one way for someone with you, like that has a lot of energy and a lot of zest for life that I could see totally taking away your skill set because that's not a way to live.
It's not a way to live. And I also want to see life and experience life and be in the moment. Like if I was just in Cannes for the Cannes Lion Festival and we're in freaking Cannes. We're in the south of France. Like my ass from Louisiana never thought I would be in the south of France. And I've had the pleasure of going multiple times now. And I'm with 2 of my friends and you're inviting me on a yacht and there's freaking lobster. I'm not here to Instagram it. I'm here to get all the damn butter, pour it all on that bad boy, hope I don't spill it on my dress and embarrass myself. And I want to be present and in the moment. Right. You know what I mean? Because that's when I'm in a rocking chair, God willing, what I'm going to remember, not how many likes did it get. A good friend of mine, she and I last night, we had way too much champagne and oysters. Didn't take one damn picture. You know what I mean? And she's a well-known person. That I want us to remember gossiping over champagne and oysters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I want those moments too. I was in Vegas one time in a club because every good story starts with Vegas in a club.
Yeah, it does. Every bad one does too.
So, right. And these girls were in we were all in this VIP lounge and these girls were literally sitting like this. And then a song came on and they turned their phones on and they sang with the song for like 10 seconds, posted on their Instagram, and then I was like, oh my God, you're so miserable. You are so miserable. I would never want to date you. You are a horrible person. You know, but then you get pulled into this world where you're like, everybody's having fun but me. But are they really? I'm not saying everyone's miserable on social media, but a lot of it is curated.
Yeah.
You know, so I struggle with that, which is why I'm like, sometimes I want to quit. I'm not even going to lie. I just want to disappear into the ether and market some stuff and then grow one dreadlock over my ear. And
that would be a look. That would be a look.
I do think about that, especially when you see so much garbage coming out. You're like, really?
You know what I like about your Instagram feed though is like where everyone is trying to create this great life of theirs. Mm-hmm. You like to chime in when you're like pissed off and when you're like not having a great day.
This is bullshit.
This is a bad date. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Oh, this is what you DM me? Let's talk about it. I think that's hilarious. You see, I'm in your DMs all the time because you're cracking me up. That's why you said this is the first time we've seen each other in 5 years. Yeah. It shocks me because I'm so in your feed that the little bit you do post, which is it's not as frequent as like
Yeah.
an influencer.
Yeah.
But you do post a decent amount. And it's always the rawest, realest shit.
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
It's got a lot of, I know you're not Gen X, but it's got Gen X vibes
Does
to it for
it?
sure. Yeah.
I don't know what gen I am anymore.
No, you're a millennial.
Am I?
Yeah.
I look at those as young people.
If you have an 80s in the birthday,
Oh, okay. Then I'm a
then
millennial.
you're a millennial.
Okay, then that's me. Because a good friend of mine, I'm not gonna say his name, but he's an actor. I tell him all these dating stories. He's like, Dana, you need a series about he's like, you can't make this shit up. He's like, come on. It's like some of the craziest stories. So people don't believe me. Like I have something I need to post now where I was at a Soho house in Chicago and this guy was like basically telling me how ugly I was while he was trying to get this other girl's phone number. I was like,
Are you on a date with this man?
No. I was just at the bar. I'm just an innocent bystander. I'm just here.
That was his move?
I'm just here. Yeah. I'm just trying to get a couple old fashions. But he was like, you could tell he colored his beard and he had on like some but colored it in a sense that like if I did like this, the color would come off.
Oh.
Yeah. I was
You got some Crayola washables?
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely had a washable moment. I was like, oh. And the girl was like, that's not cool. Like he's putting down another woman to try to get my attention. And I was like, he has Beijing all over his hair and beard. He can't tell me anything. Like,
Right, yeah.
And she's like, no, it's not about that. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get another drink.
Damn.
But after I thought about it more, I was like, oh my gosh, she's totally right. But
That's an interesting tactic.
Yeah.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Bold strategy. That or the random head rubs. People don't believe people try to rub my head randomly. They don't believe those things until we're hanging out and somebody actually does it.
It's tempting. I'm not gonna lie.
I know, but would you, if you didn't know me?
No, hell no.
And say we're in a bar or on the subway
No, I
or
wouldn't
walking
do it.
down the street, would you just walk up and rub my head?
Hell no.
People do.
You get randomly accosted on your head.
I do. Like if I see I can't tell you how many times I've done like this. If I can see it coming.
It's like the Kemba
like
Mutombo
this.
up in this.
Yes.
That's a fifth floor problem.
Not in my house.
Not in my house. Damn it. No. Like seriously.
What's dating after the pandemic like? I want to know.
Was before then contagious.
What's it like in these streets, Dana? I think you should just have a damn dating show because I think a lot of people can learn from you.
From my mistakes.
Not from mistakes.
From my
You got good
failures.
commentary. You're blunt with it.
Dating is interesting.
Do you find guys have trouble dealing with how big your personality is? Like,
Yes, absolutely. 150%.
So what's the right guy for Dana? Someone that just needs that, is quiet and needs that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I couldn't date me. I'd be like, oh my
We'd
God.
be
you're
competing.
I'd be like, oh my God, you're too much.
So you need that quiet, silent type that needs you to
He doesn't have to be quiet. I think he needs to have a great sense of humor, be kind, passionate about something, be okay with the fact that my dreams and my job may put me in rooms that may make them uncomfortable, and they need to figure out what their comfort level may be.
Uncomfortable, meaning like you're in Vegas, you're interviewing Michael B. Jordan, and rumors might fly.
No, not even. Nobody's gonna link
I
me
saw
and Michael B. Jordan.
I'm gonna tell you, I saw an amazing thing.
No one is
We
ever
were
gonna
with
do that.
Danielle Harrington was on the cover of Swimsuit. We were with her at Good Morning America. I'm talking like 6:30 a.m. We're there. Michael B. Jordan's getting interviewed. We're in the side room waiting.
Okay.
His interview ends. He comes in while the cameras are rolling, and he just wants to say hi to her. He does. She's like, "Oh my God, Michael B. Jordan just talked to me." He leaves. An hour later, I was in a Suburban with her, and she's like, "Oh my God, trending on Twitter is that I'm dating Michael B. Jordan." Like,
That does happen. That does happen. I've done interviews. I did an interview with Trey Songz for Essence, and people are like, "Oh my God, you're flirting with him the whole time." And I'm like, no. If there are two people that people think should be or could be attracted to each other, and they're polite and cordial and maybe joking, then that's always going to happen. That just happens.
That's just good TV.
It's good TV, but y'all don't realize like I was there X amount of time beforehand, and I've spoken to them and their crew in the green room, and there may be an inside joke or something, and that energy has helped us both just kind of get through the day. I'm their 12th interview of the day. I'm nervous because this is an A-list celebrity, and it just helps the interview. they're like, oh, you're flirting and you're trying to be with them. No, I'm just trying to have a good interview.
Good
you know
shit.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I'm never worried about that.
Okay.
Even though Daniel Kaluuya is my crush, just saying. Dating now, everybody just wants to know your Instagram. They don't really ask your phone number.
What's your @ That's all they say?
Yeah, what's your Instagram? And I don't want you to know my Instagram. That's a personality. Yes, it's me, but get to know me. And a lot of my friends have that experience as well. People just want to know their Instagram. I have a good friend of mine who's very well known and respected in her industry. And she's like, I don't even tell people my last name until like on the 3rd or 4th date.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But she gives the Instagram out?
No.
Nothing. It's just you got to know me.
Get to know me. Yeah.
That's what it's like. What they want to just see what thirst traps you post?
They want to see thirst traps and things like that, but I don't post thirst traps, you know?
Right.
So it's like...
You post a lot of dating on blast shit.
I do. Because people say and do the dumbest things.
Well, hold on. That might be a little scary.
You know, I'm just like...
If I'm a man that's about to date you, I'm like, I don't want to be...
Don't do dumb shit.
In your DMs.
But don't do anything dumb. And then you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
Don't follow me home.
Don't follow you home?
Don't follow me home. I've been followed home. Don't
What do
follow
you mean
me.
followed home? You leave the date and then there's like taillights behind you.
No, I was in Chicago.
In Chicago?
I was in Chicago. And this guy literally followed me home. Something just said turn around. I was like...
And you saw him?
I was like 4 or 5 blocks. Where we met for cocktails was 4 or 5 blocks from where I lived. And something just said, I'm like 2 or 3 blocks away, and it said, just turn around. And he was literally walking behind me. I was like, I'm not doing statistic.
Wow. That's some CSI shit right there.
I don't know. It's just, dating is just weird. It's just, I think dating, there are so many options and so many resources for options. And many people aren't really into meaningful connections. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot. And I think there's this assumption that everything we say or do is going to be put on social media because of what I do, but that's not the case unless you do something dumb. And then I'm never going to say your name.
Right,
I've never posted a boyfriend. I've never
true.
posted a boyfriend. Even my crazy ex, he told everybody he was crazy. I never told anybody it was him.
Right.
You know, I don't do that. So yeah, dating is weird. But if you know any available single men,
gentlemen,
out there,
Dana Blair.
I like long walks on the beach.
She likes long walks on the beach.
Capricorn.
She's nothing but fun.
I'm a Capricorn.
She's a Capricorn. I don't know what that means.
LeBron James and I have the same birthday. That's what
Does
that
that
means.
mean you're a match?
It means we're brilliant.
Because I know
people.
I'm a Taurus, and I know that 2 Tauruses probably won't work.
Probably not. No, I'm not a match with LeBron James, but I'm just saying greatness was born on that day. Tiger Woods.
Okay.
Tiger Woods has the same birthday.
Tiger Woods, LeBron James, and Dana Blair all the same birthday?
Val Kilmer.
Iceman.
Yes, Cheryl Lee Ralph. Like, greatness was born on December 30th. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I vouch for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll co-sign that. I will say this. You are someone that's taken a lot of leaps.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot to be learned from that.
Mm-hmm.
Bestow on us that wisdom of like, what has Dana Blair learned throughout her journey about fear and just showing up and doing things?
Most of the things that you're afraid of aren't real and will never happen. And even in those moments, you can think you're going to end up in one place and you can end up some completely different place that you never expected. That's totally amazing. So
Is there a power? Is it about saying yes to opportunities when they arise?
most of the time, yes. And then also I think having people in your life that you can really trust who can pull you back when you're like, Dana, you're overthinking this. No, Dana, this is good. Well, what are you afraid of? A very good friend of mine, Damali, was like, write it down. What are you really afraid of? Like, really think about it, write it down. And half the time when I go back to her saying that to me, I have nothing to write down. It's really just like bullshit I've made up in my head.
Right.
Scenarios that could never really happen. I listen to my gut more. I find that, we all have that feeling whether something's right or wrong. And we can't always decipher where is it coming from. But then you do something, you're like, damn it, I knew it. I had a feeling,
Yeah, positive and negative.
Yeah, positive and negative. So I listen to that more. But now that I'm older, I also like, you know what? There really aren't any mistakes. I'm supposed to learn something from this. I chose this for a reason. The universe brought me here for a reason. What is it I'm supposed to learn? Because I don't want to keep learning this shit again.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep making the same mistake over and over again. but I have one life. My biggest fear is if I walk out of this studio right now and I'm in a car accident, that I didn't live my life on my terms.
Yeah.
And it happens quickly. Like it was just January 1st, and now it's like the end. You know what I mean? The year is almost
and
over.
It only gets faster.
It only gets faster. I'm so afraid of not. When I get to the pearly gates, and St. Peter's like, oh yeah, we heard about you. That's what I want.
It's me. I heard about you.
I heard about you. Yep, that's me. I know that one time you got me out of that frat party. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know. Good looking out, you know, but I'm so afraid of not living my life. And because also I've had so many people sacrifice things for me to get to where I am and who have poured into me. I don't want to disappoint them either. Like I just want to live my life to the fullest. So that's why I do things out of, even when I'm afraid, I'm like, I think this could be a good opportunity, or this could work, or this is, okay, well, if this doesn't happen, then maybe you could do this, or what can you get from it? And then just trying to lean in and go for it. And oftentimes it's the places where I don't expect the good stuff to happen where the good stuff happens, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of power in how a situation makes you feel.
Mm-hmm.
As much as because I do give that advice to people, like, don't write pros and cons lists. It's how you felt immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed that in situations where I got opportunities that scared me a little bit, like they felt too big, sometimes fear would trick my gut. But if I still had that feeling like, man, I really want to do this, and I acknowledged that fear in my gut was like, but this is really big. This is too much. That my wanting should overcome
Your fear.
the bigness of it.
Absolutely.
Because you're never going to be ready. That's just growth. You're never going to be ready for the bigger moment because you've only done smaller moments.
You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Right.
I mean, if you're always comfortable, then what am I doing this for? Just so I can never make it on a major platform? Just so I can never develop my own show? So I can never do... Then what the fuck am I doing this for?
Right.
To me, the point is to grow. It is to progress. But it just kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, people don't tell you about all those downs that happen in the up. You know, it's not a straight line. It looks like the stock market. It's like this. Right. It's definitely like that.
It's volatile for sure.
It's definitely volatile. And every great icon has that story. You know, Frank Sinatra lost his voice. You know, like...
Unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio, shit wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. And I'm sure Leo has some moments.
Yeah, he probably got some moments.
He has some moments he wants to tell you about. But, you know, everybody has those moments where you're like, am I still valid? Am I still obsolete? Do you still see me? Am I still... A million questions go through your mind.
You're valid.
I don't know sometimes. I'm not even going to lie. Like, some days I'm like, I don't want to do this shit anymore. Why am I like this? I wish I were just... I say this in my head. I wish I were normal.
You are normal. Kind of.
Right. I'm like, I wish I were normal.
No, you're special. That's the deal. Like you're not normal. You could never be normal. Your personality is not normal. You were born... If you're born to entertain people on a big screen and can engage people in the way that you do, then you're abnormal. But that abnormality is a good thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, you were not meant to go sit in your cube.
I would go crazy.
Right. You're not meant to do that.
That's why I was dancing around the office. Right. I know that, but it's also like, what do I do with that? And then other people are like, well, what do we do with that? And everybody's trying to figure out what to do with it. You know, it's a lot. I don't know. It could be a lot.
And look, you are this like shining light, and you should just only focus on the positive, because
that's easier said than done. But yes, it is true.
It's totally. But like, you need an inflated sense of ego to be able to do what you do.
I don't have that.
I know you don't have that, but you just need the confidence to just be like, I'm good enough, and just be you.
I do say now I'm good enough, but my ego's not there yet. To a degree, I'll say my ego's not there.
When you're on camera, it just makes sense.
Thank you.
And that energy's got to go somewhere, and
it does.
Captured.
It does.
Like a Ghostbuster unit.
It does have to go somewhere.
You can rock a stage. I mean, let's talk about public speaking. Is such a disaster for so many people. How many people pay you to go to conferences and just talk and do all these things? Like,
I have an online course too, teaching people how to have public speaking skills, interview skills, maneuver difficult conversations. I do. I enjoy that. I enjoy that.
So what's the tips to public speaking? How do you get over it? Just a bunch of Cosmos and just go?
No, it's not just a bunch of Cosmos. It just depends. It depends on. I take the approach of just knowing your audience and preparation, and how much time do you have, and what are you trying to get across, and like I'll go through all of those steps with my client, and then everything down to like what to wear and what not to wear.
What are some of the tips? Baseball shirts?
It's always a baseball shirt. But, look at the set, see what the colors are, clashing, and what do you feel comfortable in? What do you feel best in? Is it a low chair? Is it a high chair? That's if you're wearing something short, that may determine what you wear, all of those different things, because you can go in super prepared, but then something as small as that can take you off your game. So
Right.
I try to do like a 360, if you will. I do think you have nerves, and you think about everything, and you're like, I do think you have that.
Right.
Find a routine, find what makes you comfortable. Don't wear something that you're not comfortable in. Don't fidget. If you need to have, if you have a podium and you do need to fidget, you can fidget behind the podium. Like just different, I don't know, it just depends on the person and the circumstance, but you find your rhythms and things that work for you. I like to listen to gangster rap before I go out.
That always helps.
I do.
Yeah,
But
I think
not.
the attitude of gangster rap, I think, can really be a motivator. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I
Especially
listen
some
to-
90s golden era.
True. I listen to Nas. I listen to Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Sometimes I listen to Beyonce or Rihanna.
Okay.
Just somebody's going to be like, little Meg Thee Stallion.
Yep. Just a little attitude.
Get it. I'm not going to listen to like smooth jazz.
Yeah.
I'm not there.
You need that edge.
Yeah, I need a little. Yeah,
For
I need a little
sure.
edge. Yeah, I'll do that.
For someone that wants to be on camera, on the red carpet, doing a live show, or just fearful to like put themselves out in a more public sense, what advice do you have for them? I
I say, why do you want to do it first? You have to know your why, your reasoning, and your motivation. Just, I want to be on camera. I want to be famous. I don't think it's good enough. How do you want people to perceive you, and how do you want to be portrayed? And I think those are the most important questions to ask yourself, because from there, that's going to determine who you work with, what outlets you work with, what types of questions you ask, how you present, and that's also going to have some level of determining the energy that comes back at you. And be honest with yourself if you can really handle it. If you
Right.
were a person who didn't like to give the class presentation, then maybe getting on national television is not for you. Right? But if it's something you're like, I didn't really like it, but I really want to do it, and I feel like it's something I can conquer, then that's a different conversation. And always be true to yourself, because fads are going to come and go, outlets are going to come and go, stories are going to come and go, but you're stuck with you.
Right.
So just be true to yourself, no matter what.
What's next for Dana Blair?
I have no earthly idea, which terrifies me and excites me at the same time.
Endless possibilities. Well, listen, you inspire me.
Oh, thank you.
I think sky's the limit for you. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, follow Dana Blair on socials. You're going to get some weird shit about her DMs. And like, do you really want to see the same picture of Tulum? Of the same bun shot from Tulum? You don't want that. You want to know the real shit. Dana will give you the real shit. And I'm a big fan. And we're going to work together many more times.
Yes, and then we'll go to Tulum.
And then we'll go to Tulum and you'll get that bun shot.
Thank you, Pete.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're one of my favorite humans, so keep in touch.
I will. We're stuck together now.
Well, I'm also going to get you gigs, so that's fine.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Zucks, send it to the internet, my friend.
Send it to the internet, my friend.